Let's start our CICD journey by installing Jenkins in this episode. We are going to follow the installation instructions on the Jenkins official website. So go to jenkins.io, click on documentation, then click installing Jenkins. The minimum hardware requirement is 256 MB of RAM, 1 GB of drive space, but 10 GB of hard disk space is recommended. And for a small team, RAM of 1 GB or above and 50 GB plus of disk space. I am installing on a machine with 2 GB of RAM installed and 10 GB of disk space. You should be fine with 512 MB plus of RAM, and I also recommend 10 GB of disk space. I want to install on Ubuntu server, so I will scroll down to where they talk about installing on Linux, then click Ubuntu. I will install OpenJava Development Kit first, since Jenkins depends on it. As recommended, I will run sudo apt update first. You might want to check if you already have an OpenJDK installed. Run java --version to be sure. I don't have it, so I will go ahead with the installation. Type Y and press enter to proceed. And that is done. I will check for the version again. I have version 1.8.0 installed. I will clear my screen so I can see clearly. Now I will proceed with installing Jenkins. You can decide to install the long-term support release or weekly release. You may read the documentation to know the implications of installing either of them, but I will install the long-term release. I will copy this line, paste in the terminal and press enter to run. That is okay. I will run these lines of command next. I will update the package index again. And finally install Jenkins. Type Y and press enter to proceed. Installation complete. I like to clear my screen. To access your Jenkins instance, type the IP address of your Jenkins server in your browser and append :8080 to it. The first time you access your fresh Jenkins instance, you will be asked to unlock it using an automatically generated password. The password is stored in this path. So what I will do is copy the path, paste in the Jenkins server terminal. I will put sudo cat in front of it, then run to display the password. To copy the password, I will highlight it and press the Ctrl key plus C. I will switch back to the Jenkins instance and paste the password, then click continue. Here we can customize Jenkins. We can either install suggested plugins or select plugins to install. I will choose to install the suggested plugins, but feel free to choose the other option. You can see the suggested plugins as they are being installed. Here we have the option of creating the first admin user or skip and continue with admin, which is the root user. I will create an admin user. I will type John Doe as the username, password as the user's password. Confirm the password. Full name, I will put John Doe. Then email address, I will say john@doe.com. Click save and continue. Next, we need to configure URL for our Jenkins instance. By default, the IP address of this server :8080 is selected, but not saved yet. You can leave the IP address as the URL, but I prefer to configure a hostname for it. So I will replace the IP address with jenkins.test. Then click Save and Finish. Click Start using Jenkins. And here is our Jenkins instance looking good in our local environment. If you specified a hostname in the Jenkins URL like me, I want you to configure your local DNS service to make the hostname work. We have done it multiple times. That is it for this episode. Let's continue in the next episode.